Edwin Gosser, interviewing Walter Gosser, my grandfather, about his service in the Army during World War II, particularly the occupation of Japan. We are at his house, which is 620 East South A Street, Gas City, Indiana, 46933. Mr. Gosser, well, you were a veteran of World War II. What branch of the service were you in?
I was in the Army.
What was the highest rank you achieved?
I was technician, 4th grade sergeant.
Okay. Where were you living at the time you were drafted?
I was living at 401 East South A Street in Gas City, Indiana.
How old were you?
I was 18 when I was drafted.
What were your thoughts and feelings when you learned about being drafted?
Well, I knew it was my duty, along with all other 18-year-olds that were drafted. And the war wasn't over yet, and we knew we would be in service for a while.
Were any of your friends drafted?
Well, there was a few friends that were drafted, and then some had even enlisted before they were drafted. Yeah. I particularly had one friend. He didn't graduate from school, so he was in my class, and he quit school and joined the service, and then went to Germany, and he was killed in combat over there in Germany.
How old was he when was he 18?
He was probably 18 or 19.
How many people from the county would you guess were drafted or enlisted that went to the Army?
Oh, gee,
Or to any part of the Armed Service?
I don't know. It was probably, you mean total or just when I went?
Just when you went.
Oh, there's probably 10 or 15.
10 or 15? Where did you go for basic training?
Went to Fort McClellan, Alabama.
Alabama. What was your time there like?
Well, our basic training was 17 weeks long and consisted of firing M1 rifles, machine guns, mortars, and using the bayonet on the rifle. And we had grenade throwing also. We also went through obstacle courses with live ammunition being fired over our heads.
Live ammunition?
Yes.
Explain that for me.
Well, we'd be crawling under this, or on the ground with our bellies as close to the ground we could get, cradling our rifle in our arms, and the machine gun, which was stationary, was firing over our heads.
Who was firing them?
Well, probably another enlisted man.
And that taught you not to
raise up. Yeah, they told us to be sure not to raise up.
Okay.
Keep our behind down.
Or else you might get shot, huh?
Right.
That was
Well, also we went on 20-mile hikes carrying our backpacks and rifles.
How often did you do that?
Oh, maybe 2 or 3 times while we were down there.
Oh, yeah? What?
And while we were on this hike, 20-mile hike, there was an Army truck that followed us, and if anybody got blisters or got sick or fell out, well, this truck would pick them up. And we slept in small tents when we went on bivouac, and there'd be snakes that might sneak into your tent and lay down alongside you.
How many people were in the tent?
I think there was just 2 of us.
Just 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember who you were with? Or?
No, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Okay. Do you remember who your instructors were and what they were like?
Well, I don't really remember the names or anything, but I particularly remember the drill instructor the most, as he would try to impress on us that everything they were teaching us was for our benefit and would help us stay alive if we happened to go in combat.
So they were very stern and strict?
Right. True.
Were there any other types of training that you remember particularly?
Well, we did a lot of close drill. They call it drilling. They'd drill us in marching drills, really, I guess you want to say.
What were those?
Well, you'd be in line. Everybody had to be in step, the same step, and you'd turn left, or turn right. Just the marching drills, really.
Okay.
Which you probably had never seen.
Well, oh yeah, I've seen it. Did your drill instructor lead that?
Did he what?
Lead the marching?
Oh,
drills?
yes.
Okay. What were you thinking about at the time of your training?
Well, that I should pay attention and learn as much as I could, which would help me in the future in.
Did you think that you were ever going to war, or did you know that the war
Well,
was ending?
we were, when we were in training, the war was still going on. So it ended then after we finished our training. But we thought maybe we might be in the invasion of Japan.
Were you worried about that?
Well, not really too much.
You never really thought about it, or?
No, because we did the training and
Yeah.
we were trained to do it.
When were the atomic bombs dropped on Japan during that time period? Was it when you were in training, or?
Yeah, towards the latter part of their training.
Okay. And so,
Well, they told us that we'd probably be in an invasion of Japan if they hadn't been dropped.
okay,
So it saved the invasion. Instead of invasion, it was occupation.
there you go. Okay. After that, when were you shipped to Japan?
Well, we left by ship from Fort Ord, Oregon on October the 18th, 1945, and we arrived in Japan on October 31st.
31st.
Which was 13 days on board the troop ship SS Costa Rica Victory on the Pacific Ocean.
What do you remember about your time on the ship?
Well, we had to have different duties on there, but didn't amount to much. So, and,
Just scrubbing decks, or?
yeah, or not well, clean restrooms and maybe
Yeah.
work on KP, and
Okay.
there wasn't really that much to do. Of course, there was a lot of troops on there, and
How many troops would you estimate?
gee whiz, I don't know.
A whole bunch?
Yeah,
Was it a big ship?
It was a big ship, yes, in the thousands.
In the thousands?
Yes.
Were they from all over the place, or from
Yes.
a particular region?
Yeah,
or?
they're from all over.
All over the place. Okay. When you got to Japan, where did you stay at?
Of course, when we got into Japan, it was nighttime, and
Well, before that, what was it like getting off the ships? Like, do you remember?
you know that's what I'm talking about. When we
Okay.
when we pulled into port and docked, it was nighttime and it was dark, and we wondered what we were getting into with all these, Japanese people around us. And,
Were you worried?
well, just a little, but
A little nervous?
We got used to it though.
Yeah.
Then when I was sent to Osaka, Japan, with the 98th Signal Battalion, which is 11th Corps, and took training in climbing wood poles to string telephone lines.
So did you ever do that?
No, because after a short time, I was transferred to the 1st Cavalry Division, 1st Signal Troop at Camp Drake, which was near Tokyo.
Near Tokyo. How close to Tokyo was that?
Oh, you couldn't walk. You had to go by either truck or train.
So what was your job there?
Well, I served as chief clerk for the Signal Troop. My duties were handling incoming and outgoing correspondence, made entries to service records, prepared payrolls and allotments, and did filing of correspondence and reports for the troop.
Did you make any friends there?
Yes, I had quite a few friends.
Quite a
Of course,
few friends.
I was there for about a year, so.
How many? Did you have a group of friends, or
Well,
how many people did you?
Where we stayed, it was a 2-story barracks, and it was upstairs where I stayed, and it was a big room with all the different cots. There must have been 15 or 20 cots around this room.
So it was 2 floors.
Yeah, 2 floors, this barracks.
How many people were in barracks?
Oh, there must have been 50 or 60 people in each barracks. And in this one room, there was probably 10 or 15 people.
How many barracks were there?
There
A
was
lot?
quite a few,
Quite
yes.
a few. So there were quite a few people on your base.
Yes,
or-
right. It must have been an old Army Japanese base.
Oh, really?
Right, because it was just all laid out like a regular Army base.
So, and it didn't look like it had been constructed in a short
No.
amount of time, or it was a set.
Right.
Okay. Did it give you an eerie feeling, well, these might have been where the Japanese were when they were,
Yeah, right.
before making their missions or what have you.
Yeah, they were probably trained there too.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
awe-inspiring.
Right.
We already asked this, but what was your highest rank you achieved there again?
Technician 4th grade sergeant.
And what what does that mean?
Well, you start out as a private,
Okay.
and then a PFC.
Is that private first class?
Yeah,
right?
private first class. Then you go to a corporal. Then they have different technical jobs. Like I was in the office there, and it was technician job, so that's why I was technician sergeant.
What other kinds of, ranks or whatever did they have for other people? Like, what did other people do?
Well, you had a lot of them came from different organizations, and they already had their ranks. And there were some sergeants and staff sergeants and first sergeants, and then you went to your officers, lieutenants then. But the first sergeant, you had a first sergeant in the office. He was in charge of everything there in that particular signature.
Okay. Did you receive any medals or citations while you were there?
Well, I received the Asiatic Campaign Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Army of Occupation Medal. No fighting medals.
No fighting medals. Did not see any combat.
No, that's right.
Did you get those later on when you returned home? Or?
Yes, right. Okay. They were sent to us.
What did you and your friends do for fun there on base?
Well, we had a softball field right nearby, and we had a basketball. Well, it was an inside stadium, and I was on a basketball team at which we traveled around different, all close by bases and played them.
How close?
Probably 15, 20 miles.
15, 20 miles. So there were quite a few bases around.
Yes, around, yeah. And our team was an average team, probably. Won and lost some.
Did you break 500?
Probably.
Okay. What other things did you read or watch movies?
Well, we played cards.
Played cards.
And we had movies, but we never had any outside entertainment that came into like USO shows or anything like that. We had to more or less make our own entertainment.
So, when you played cards there, were there any gamblers or gambling going on? Or?
Well, there was a few, but I was never a gambler.
You were never a gambler?
I didn't do much gambling.
Or did any of your friends gamble? Or?
Yeah, they did.
They did? Well, what about money? What did you do about money there? When you were there, how did that work?
You mean, well, they had money that the United States made to be used in Japan. It was occupation money.
Occupation. So what did that look like?
Yeah, well, it was smaller than our $1 bill.
Could you use American money there?
I think we were paid in American money, probably. Well, I mean, just on the base, we could. If we went off the base, we couldn't use the American money.
Well, when you went off the base,
after you converted the yen,
would you convert that if you went off the base?
Yes, we could do that.
Okay. Did you ever take any trips to Japan?
Yes, we took a few trips. We'd get weekend passes and go to. One time we went to Tokyo, and we attended the U.S. Armed Forces Pacific Intercommand track meet at a stadium in Tokyo. And there were armed forces teams from Japan, Korea, Hawaii, Marianas Islands, and the Philippines, and then they competed against each other.
So it was a track meet?
It was a nice track meet. We enjoyed it.
Who won, you know?
No, I don't. I had a booklet that I kept record of it, though, but I've got it put away someplace. Then another time we went to International Military Tribunal, the Far East Trials at the War Ministry Building in Tokyo. It was very interesting, but I really didn't know who was on trial at that time.
So you just kind of was there for, was it in Japanese or English?
Well, they had translators.
So it was in both.
Yes, right.
Tell me more about Tokyo. Did you like the town? It's a big city.
Oh, yes, it was a big city, but we walked up and down the main streets of Tokyo.
Were there many other soldiers there?
Yeah, there was
quite a few.
Yeah. We would, of course, going into Tokyo, I remember riding on the train and subway, that when I was standing up, I'd tower over all the Japanese because they are small people. Once in a while you find some taller ones, but most of them were just small.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot tall.
6 foot tall, so you towered over them.
Towered over them, yeah, right.
Did the people there, did they respect you? You were there for the occupation. Did you sense any hostility?
No, not really. I mean, they knew that they were a conquered country, and they pretty well
they respected you.
Respected us, yes.
So there were no confrontations?
No, we really didn't have any. might have been earlier, but we
Um,
didn't have it.
Well, I mean, there were so many soldiers there. I think
Yes,
that
right.
it wouldn't have made amounted to anything anyway.
Of course, we didn't have them outnumbered because there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
But
there's-
we had our weapons.
You had weapons.
Right.
Okay. Did you buy anything when you were in Japan and Tokyo?
Well, I bought a camera one time from Japanese, and I think it was, about 3,300 yen. But I don't remember what the comparison was between yen and American money.
So where'd you buy this at? Did you go into a store or?
Well, I went into his private home, so he must have had some of his cameras there at home.
Where did you find them at? Or?
Well, I don't remember how I got a hold. Some of the fellows probably told me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
before going into the house, we had to take off our shoes.
Oh, really?
Which is their custom, to take off your shoes.
Always take off your shoes.
And they usually have little slippers that they put on to wear inside the house.
What was the house like?
Well,
I mean, when I think of Japan, I see the pagoda or whatever. Was
yeah,
that
right? Well, it was a small house. Of course, they have a lot of sliding doors.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
mats. Of course, it's been how many years ago? 50.
Quite a few.
Yeah, 50-some years ago since I've been there.
Do you have any particular moment that you remember most when you're in Japan? Or?
Well, we're going to climb Mount Fujiyama one day, and some friends of mine and us, we started going up to the mountain, and it started raining. So we had to turn around and come back. But we could see Mount Fujiyama from a distance.
Oh,
from our camp.
was it? So it was fairly close to where you were staying.
Well, it was quite a distance.
But
yeah,
it's a big
you could-
mountain.
Yeah, a big mountain, so we could see it.
So how far did you get up? Do you think?
Really, I don't know. We probably got maybe a fifth of the way up.
Fifth of the way up.
Didn't get too far.
How many people were you with?
Oh, probably 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Were you really going to climb the whole thing if you could? Or?
We didn't know what was going to happen.
I mean, I'm sure there's a point where
Yeah.
it just gets too steep that you can't go any further. Any more trips do you remember that you remember?
No, not really.
Okay. How else did you and your friends entertain yourselves? I mean, you said the card playing.
Well, some of them play cribbage
Cribbage.
game and poker, like I said before, and I always played euchre.
Euchre.
Because I wasn't much of a gambler.
Well, euchre, that's a true Indiana game there.
Yeah, right. And a lot of them didn't know how to play
That's-
euchre.
Yeah, that's true. Even though I've found that if you go to other states,
Yeah,
or
from other states.
even especially outside the Midwest, they really don't know.
Right.
What was your before that? Did you read or
Oh,
anything on the?
I never read too much.
Never read.
No, I always try to be doing something else besides reading.
How did you keep in touch with your family while you're there?
Well, by writing. I mean, we didn't have any telephones that we
Yeah.
could go to call, or we didn't
Right.
have email, no computers, so we just had to write letters.
Good old-fashioned snail mail, huh?
Right.
Who did you write to? Just your family, or did you write to any friends? Or?
Well, I wrote to one girl in particular, and she never did write me back.
Who is that?
Well, her name was Barbara McKinney at the time,
What's her name now?
and I happened to marry her after I got back, so she's Barbara Gosser now.
A twist of fate, huh?
Right.
Did your parents write back, or your brother or sister?
Mother especially would
Mother.
write back, yeah. And of course, I had a camera that would take pictures and send back home.
Now you have a brother and a sister. What did they say about that when you going to Japan? Were they proud of you? Or?
Oh yeah, and my brother, he would take care of some of my. I remember particularly, I had a bicycle, and he took over my bicycle, and I think he eventually sold it.
Jeez, some brother you have.
Yeah,
huh?
right.
What was your most memorable moment in Japan? Was it the climbing Fujiyama, or
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah,
what was? When it rained, did it come down hard? Or?
yeah, it came down pretty hard, so we had to turn around.
What was the weather like there in Japan?
I don't remember. I don't think it got real cold.
So it was pretty moderate,
Yeah, very moderate temperature.
60s or 50s, 60s.
Well, in the summertime it got warmer than
Warmer,
that.
right.
Yeah, right. But probably it froze there
Yeah.
in the wintertime.
Um,
But like I say, so many years ago. It's hard to remember that long.
Right. Um, uh, do you remember the day your service ended?
You remember when we found out?
Yeah. You found out.
Yeah, I was working, of course, in the orderly room, and the orders came through the orderly room saying that we would be taken back to the States.
Did another group of soldiers come in then, or was it?
No,
Did this decrease the number of troops?
Oh,
that
you mean
was
take
in?
our place?
Right.
Well, really, I don't remember if there was anybody else that took our place.
So maybe they did, maybe they didn't.
Which there probably were. I mean, I didn't teach anybody my job or anything.
Right. Right.
But there were some that everybody didn't go back. I mean, some of them stayed.
Some of them stayed
so
there.
they took over the duties then.
Did some people stay longer than you had, or
Yeah. Oh yes.
did some people stay shorter, or were you
No, probably I was
one of the
one of the shortest time. Yeah. Because some of them had in different divisions, and they were transferred to Japan, and they might have had more service to begin with than I had, and then their orders really hadn't come through yet to be discharged and go home.
Okay.
So they were all different length of service that they had along the service.
So did you go over to Japan initially knowing that you'd only be there for a year?
Oh no.
Did,
Well, they didn't tell us really how long we'd be there, just occupation.
So, I mean, you weren't worried you'd be there for like 5 years or
No,
something?
no.
Okay. You might have to marry yourself a Japanese girl.
Right. Well, some of them did. They
Did it?
married Japanese and took them back with them.
Really? Did that ever happen to anybody that you knew? Or?
No, not really, but I'd read about it.
Were you excited when you found out you're going home? Or?
Oh yeah, we were all happy, and we probably did some celebration.
What kind of celebration?
Well, I wasn't much of a gambler or a drinker either, so I might have had a few drinks.
What'd they do about that? Were they okay about that on the base? Or
Oh yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
They're easy going.
Well, it wasn't too extensive.
Yeah. Did you have who was what was kind of like the policing action there? I mean, I know
Military
you're,
police.
Did you have MPs there?
Yes. And if you got if you went into town or someplace, there'd be MPs milling around there in town. If you got in trouble,
Could you tell who they were? Did they have their
Oh yeah, they
MP?
had MP. But we never got in too much trouble.
Okay. What about your trip back home? How was that?
I mean, back on when we returned
Return trip?
on the boat.
Yes, on the boat.
We got on the boat, and I think we were 12 days coming back. So it was about the same as going over.
Same stuff as going over? Did you
Yeah.
have to clean up and?
Yeah, I either worked in the mess hall or did some cleaning up. I mean, just give us a few odd jobs to do.
How'd you feel when you got home? Well, where did you go when you got home? California or?
Yeah, we landed at Campville, California.
Where's that at? We're at in California, like San Francisco.
Really, I think it was close to Los Angeles.
Was it? So
Yeah.
it was down in southern.
Yeah, southern part.
How'd you get home from there?
By train.
By train?
Yes.
Was that a long trip on the train, or
Yes,
did you
well, I
really?
don't remember how many days, but it took a while because trains were slow then.
Yeah. By that point, were you ready to get home? Were you?
Oh yeah, because I was gone long enough, and we were ready to get home.
Or you see your family and friends and stuff?
Right.
How did you feel when you got home? Just happy?
Oh yeah, very happy because we've been gone for a couple of years, and
How many people were with you when you came home? Like, was anybody from Grant County?
I don't think there was. I mean, there was. Of course, when we went in, and there was fellows from Grant County, but we had separated, went to different camps and different probably services.
So when you were at the camp, the basic training, there was nobody from Grant County there with you?
No, I didn't know of anybody. Just up from all over the country. Of course, we were glad that we didn't have to be in the invasion of Japan.
Right, because if you were,
Yeah.
if there was
If
one,
they had dropped the atom bomb, we'd probably been in the invasion.
would you have been one of the first? I guess?
Probably one of the first, yeah.
Okay. Had the U.S. changed any since your departure?
No, not really, because I've only gone 2 years, and a little town of Gas City, there's not too much to change,
Yeah.
other than people are 2 years older.
Yeah. Could you recognize the war prosperity? I mean, obviously at that time that there was an economic growth with the war. Did you notice? Or?
No, I didn't really notice anything in Gas City about that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, not much. There's only so much you can
Yeah,
notice
right.
during Gas City. What did you do when you got back? Did you take a little R&R or?
Yeah, I just took a little R&R and then went to Indiana Business College for a while.
So you went back to school when you were.
Yes.
What'd you do there?
At the college,
Yeah.
Took different courses.
Courses.
Yes,
Where was Indiana Business College at?
In Marion.
Marion. Okay. What did you study there? What kind of courses did you take?
Well, we had business and probably typing and anything that you do in business.
So did you get a job after that?
Well, let's see. I think I worked in a glass factory first, and then I got a job at it was called Crosley Motors, where they built small cars.
Oh yeah.
In Marion.
And that was in Marion. What'd you do there?
I was in the receiving department. Receiving materials. Then from there I went to got a job as payroll clerk.
Payroll clerk. Is that a promotion or?
Well, it was another company.
Another company. What was that company?
It was Marion Trucking. It was a trucking company.
And so you're on payroll for that. And where was that at?
That was in Marion.
That was in Marion too.
Then from there I went to glass company in Gas City. My wife was working there, and I got a job in the accounting department. And I started in the bonus section, and then later on industrial engineering department. And altogether I spent 32 years at Owens Illinois until they closed.
And
That's when I retired.
You retired then? How old were
At
you?
55.
At 55.
Which was a young
retirement.
age.
And what year was that?
When I retired?
Yeah.
1982.
1982. A few years before I was born.
Right.
Well, you said your wife. When did you get married to Barbara McKinney?
1949.
1949. How old were you?
Well, let's see. I was 23.
Okay. And how old was she?
She was 21.
21.
Right. Then we had 2 children.
2 children. And
Yeah.
who are they?
Well, my boy was Kent.
Kent.
He was born in 1954, and Ginger was born in 1957.
57.
And then from them we had 2
Two
grandchildren.
Okay. And did you ever keep in touch with any of the friends that you met in Japan?
Well, yes. Well, usually sent Christmas cards to him, and there was one in particular. His name was Moses Medeiros, and he was a true-blooded Hawaiian, and
So he lived in Hawaii.
yeah, right, and used to send Christmas cards, and all at once it stopped. I really didn't know what happened.
Oh yeah. What? How long had it been since he?
Probably about 8 or 9 years.
Oh yeah. So after he and then he just
got out.
Okay. What did you miss the most when you were in Japan?
Oh, probably family and friends.
You missed your mom's cooking?
Yes, and mom's cooking. Right.
So did you get a big meal then when you came home?
Oh yeah. She would make me a graham cracker cream pie, which I really liked.
That was your
favorite dessert.
Favorite
yeah.
dessert. What was your favorite meal? Or do you remember?
Oh, she made good spaghetti.
Did she?
Yeah, spaghetti and meatballs.
Ooh, that's good. What did your family say when you got back?
Well, of course, they were glad that I was out of service and didn't have to get in any combat.
Right. Were they ever scared that you would?
Yeah. I think any parent would be that way.
Were they more scared than you were? Or?
Probably were. Right.
Okay. Well, you said you went on to work at Owens, Illinois. How long? Tell me about that career. How long did you work there? You had said.
I spent 32 years there. Started in 1950 and retired in 1982.
And what was your job? Was your job the same throughout those years? Or?
No, I started in the accounting department, which was a bonus department, which we figured bonus for the people out in the plant were on top of their pay, depending on how much effort they put out. That they would get a bonus on top of that. And then from there, I went to industrial engineering. And
Now you mentioned your wife. What did she do there?
she worked in personnel.
Personnel.
Yeah, she worked in. There was a personnel director. She more or less worked for him.
Did you ever see her when you were at work? Or?
Oh yeah, we used to cross paths all the
Oh.
time because I was in and out of the office and she was too.
Right. Okay. What was the first important event after you had arrived home from Japan?
It was probably
We'll continue where we were cut off. What was your first important event after your arrival home from Japan?
It was probably getting married to a wonderful person who I've been married with for 54 years
54 years.
and blessed with 2 children and 2 grandchildren.
2 grandchildren. Okay. Well, what was the date of your marriage again? Would you say 1949?
Yes,
19
February the 12th.
February 12th, 1949. You've been married for 54 years. How has your service in the military affected your life?
Well, it really paid for my additional education that I had.
So it did pay for.
Yeah, for that. And then it taught me discipline and made me appreciate home cooking.
Home cooking. You missed home cooking then, where you were.
Oh yes, right.
Um,
Because it's different when you go in service.
right. What did you
Of course,
eat?
I didn't have any fast food
Right.
there like they do now. They
That's-
probably have it now.
That's true. How? What kind of food did you eat over there?
Well, they had one thing they called shit on the shingles.
Shit on the shingles, huh?
Yeah, which was their sausage gravy
Oh.
over biscuits on
Over-
the other.
Oh yeah. So like what? Biscuits and gravy, kind of.
Yes, right, right.
Did you have
But-
that a lot? What kind of was the food? Okay.
Oh
there?
yes, I never complain about food. I mean,
Did you get a variety of?
oh yes, you had in the morning probably bacon, eggs, and pancakes, and probably the same thing you get at a restaurant.
Right. Did you ever eat anywhere else when you were in Japan?
No, I never ate at any Japanese restaurants. Of course, I was a little afraid to eat their stuff.
Yeah.
Food, that
I
is.
would be too. You never know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, food if you can call it food.
Right. Well, they ate a lot of fish, I think, raw fish.
Raw fish, sushi.
Yeah.
Did they eat squid and stuff like that?
That's right.
Well,
Which some Americans will eat now.
When you were there, did you see the shipyards or whatever when they were shipping them in? Or?
No, you mean when they caught the fish and brought
Yeah.
No, really didn't
Never
get close
saw.
to where the fishing was done.
Um,
Of course, I did drink a little sake over there,
did you?
and which is a wine.
Isn't that like a rice wine or
Yes.
something like that?
And then
They drink it warm, did they not?
I don't remember if it was warm or not. But
Huh.
we did drink that, and we drank their beer also.
Was the beer okay?
Yeah, it passed.
Yeah. It didn't make you sick or anything.
No,
so.
I don't think so.
All right, you're good.
The only time I got sick when I was on board ship.
Oh yeah.
And the up and down of it was a bad day at sea, and the ship would go up and down. The front of it would go up and then shudder as it came down.
Oh,
and
did
then
you?
up and shudder as it came down.
I'm
again.
sure a lot of you got sick. Did
Yeah,
you
you
not?
just lose your cookies.
Did you lean your head over the side? And,
Yeah, you probably did that. And
Yeah.
just up check.
But you got used to it as you
Oh
went
yeah,
in.
yeah. I think I only did it once. I
Oh,
think
yeah?
got sick. And after that, I must have got used to it.
Apparently so. Did you join a veteran organization or anything when you came back?
Yes, first I joined the VFW,
When
which
did-
was in Gas City.
When did you join that?
Probably, let's see, I got out, probably the year that I got out of service.
Did you
Yes, I was a commander in 1955.
Oh, really?
Yes, and it was enjoyable. Then have dances.
What'd you do? What was that?
As commander?
Yeah.
Well, you had different projects for the VFW. It was really to help the city out on different
Mhm.
projects, and then you'd have your meetings, so you had to be in charge of the meeting. You met every week, I think it was.
How long were you commander?
Just for 1 year.
Just for 1 year.
But
Did they get a new commander every year?
Well, unless the old commander wanted to stay for another
Oh.
year, and it happened before, and you could. But it was enjoyable being around other fellows like that.
So you did participate a lot in that? And
Yes, I did. Of course, we played basketball too.
Oh,
We had a
yeah.
pretty good basketball team. And, I wanted to say too that while I was in Japan, somebody had wrote to me and said that there's some of my friends were there in Japan.
Oh, really?
And so there was 3 other fellows. We evidently got a hold of each other, probably called, and we decided we'd meet in Tokyo.
So you met your
So
friends in Tokyo?
We met them in Tokyo.
What'd you do?
And
Just cruise the town?
yeah, just talked and ate someplace there.
Did they have any stories or anything to tell you?
No, but the one fellow was there was Joe McKinney, and that's the girl that I had wrote home to, and she didn't write back to me, and then I eventually married her. So that was my brother-in-law.
That would be your future brother-in-law.
Yeah, right.
Did you have any idea then, or?
No, not at all.
Didn't even worry about that then. Huh?
No.
Okay. How many people were in the VFW when you were at its peak, I should say?
Well, at the peak we had probably 700 or 800 that belonged to the VFW. Of course, you don't get everybody participating.
Right.
in it.
How many active participants would you say?
Oh,
you
you
had?
might have had 50 to 75 active. And then you could always call on others.
Did you
if
have
need them.
Did you have to do that, or was that somebody else's job?
To get new members?
Yeah.
Well, we had a committee that would work on
Mhm.
getting new members and send out cards.
How often did you get new members? Rather often, or?
Well, at that time we did because
Right.
right after the war had ended.
But I'm
and
sure as time went on.
Right, it was hard to get them. And I also joined the American Legion, and I think that was to play basketball with them.
Oh yeah.
So we had a American Legion basketball team. So I played on the Legion and the VFW basketball team.
So you enjoyed your experiences with the VFW?
Oh yes, very much so. Of course, right now I don't go down there very often, and there's probably not too many of them that I
Right.
know.
Do you ever go down there?
Once I've been down there probably once this year.
Once. So not that often.
No.
What do you do when you go down there? Just
Well, just see if you can see anybody that you know.
Right.
Because usually they're just different people that you don't know.
do you meet people when you're down there? Or
Yes.
What kind of people do you meet down there? I mean,
Well,
veterans from all kinds of wars? Or?
Yes, right. And younger fellows too, because
Right.
they've been in the Korean and
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam War.
So you pass on to a new generation here,
Right,
huh?
right. And with this, the Gulf War, they picked up more veterans too.
Right. Has your service, how has your service in the military affected your life? In other ways other than that?
Well, other than it paid for some of my education, and it made me,
You gain a respect for
well, it didn't hurt because it teaches you discipline and how to take orders and get along with people, really. And I was proud to serve in the service. I think every young man should serve in some part of the service.
some part of the service,
Yes,
huh?
it would help them out a lot.
Would it straighten a few of them out?
It would straighten a few out too.
Did it straighten you out, or were you
Well, I don't think I needed to straighten out.
It did just in case, huh?
Yeah, right.
Well,
Well, I don't think I told you about this one fellow that when we were out on training, I think it was probably hand grenade throwing, that he brought back a few. Well, let me start over. There were some MPs came into our we lived in Quonset huts, and they went to him and his footlocker, and they opened his footlocker, and they found some hand grenades in there. And so they got a hold of him and the hand grenades, and they took him out. So we just came from a hand grenade throwing course.
and so he
Brought some back with him.
And this was where was this at?
This is basic training.
Basic training.
Yes, and I don't really know what he was going to do with those hand grenades.
Were you a little worried there? Or?
Yeah, right. Especially when they came in looking for a particular person.
Did they know that hand grenades were missing when
Well, they must have found out somehow, unless somebody
How many-
squealed on them.
Right. How many hand grenades did he take?
I just think he had a couple.
Couple.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
Yes, right. And I think they were, they called them a fluorescent, when they threw them, there was fire that would come out of these hand grenades.
Like a flashbang grenade?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was what he had taken.
So he didn't take the toss them, explode,
Yeah.
make big crater type.
Incendiary, I think. That's the
Incendiary,
word,
yeah.
incendiary. I couldn't think of it.
I'm sure those could do some damage
Yeah,
still.
right.
Has your service affected how you think of war or the military in general?
Well, I think that, like I told you, everybody should serve a little time in the service, and I think that we should, as a nation, try to help other countries like we did in Afghanistan and Iraq.
So you
I'm
think-
all for it.
You think that's our duty as one of
Yes,
the most
because-
powerful nation on the planet?
Yes, because we don't stay there and take over the country, I think,
Right.
like some of the other bigger countries did.
So what were your thoughts on the later wars to come after your time in Japan? Like, let's see, Korean War and Vietnam.
Yes, I backed them all the time. I mean, I thought it was worthwhile.
What about the Red Scare during the Cold War? What were your thoughts on that about communism and?
Well, you didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, so we had to build up our defenses
Right.
against these.
Were you ever worried about an attack from, say, the
No,
Soviet Union?
I
or
really didn't worry.
China.
I never did worry about that.
What were your thoughts on the Korean War? Did you feel that the United States had the right to impose upon communism in other parts of the
Oh,
world?
yes, I think so. Because they were trying to help these other countries. You don't want one country going in there and taking over another country. And, of course, I mean, you got all these civilians in there that it's a hardship on them.
But it's for the betterment of them.
Right.
But probably most of them don't really understand that.
Well,
too
yeah.
well.
Right.
Vietnam was probably one of the most controversial wars that America's ever fought. What were your thoughts about that?
Right.
Did you still back them?
Yes,
even if-
but we didn't go in all-out war there, I don't
Right.
think.
Do you think more steps could have been
Could
taken?
be taken, right, and we could have probably won that war, but we backed off a lot.
So you think if we would have came on hard and came on strong, then we might have done better strategically and
Right.
gained more support
course
from the
they-
United States?
They had a lot of, it was a different type of war because
Yeah.
they, in the jungles and all these caves and tunnels that they had built, it was really hard to find them.
They were well prepared,
well
weren't
prepared,
they?
yeah.
I'm sure they needed all the support they could get, but do you think there was a lack of proper strategic planning in that war?
From our
side,
right. I think there was, yes. We could have went out and really, well, we did destroy a lot of the forests they had there.
Yeah,
Like
which-
and just wiping out the whole area.
What about the whole, baby killing thing or whatever? Did you?
It's too bad things like that happen.
And
The
I'm
civilians and young kids are killed.
I'm sure the war has such a psychological effect on the people who are in it. Did you ever? I mean, you never saw combat or anything, but
No,
did
I
it?
never did.
Did it ever? Did your time in Japan ever drain you emotionally, or?
Well,
What-
not really. I mean, you always think, how it could have been
Right.
if you had been in a war. I mean, if we'd have been in an invasion of
Right.
Japan, there'd been an awful lot of, well, us and them getting killed. But the
Did you-
atom bomb being dropped, it saved a lot of lives, both ways.
So you were very glad that. I mean, well, you obviously weren't glad that innocent civilians were killed, but you think that was the best that could have came out of that.
Oh, yes, it saved a lot of lives. Even
'Cause-
though there was a lot of lives dropped, when the
Right.
two bombs were dropped, there's a lot of
But
lives
in the
lost.
end, more were saved
more
that
were
way.
saved, right.
Because there would have been probably a Normandy-style invasion
Right.
on Japan then.
Yes.
probably from, well, probably from the United States and the Soviet Union then.
Yes, right.
Were those ever in part of the plans when you were there? Or did you ever hear anything of that?
No, I never heard anything.
Okay.
We were just stuck back in this camp and did what we were told.
Did what you right. In recent years, what have your thoughts been on the Middle East conflict in Iraq and the Gulf War?
Well, I was all for them going over there and trying to get rid of Saddam Hussein, which they did. Of course, they don't know where he is.
Right.
But no, I backed him.
So, do you feel that it's our duty to not so much impose democracy, but to kind of
Protect.
give a helping hand and protect our own interests, really,
Right,
when
right. Yes, I do.
we're.
Of course, we've got the United Nations, but it seems like they're always at a standstill, and it takes them a long time to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many other organizations, NATO, you know, and that kind of are there just in case, you know, the United Nations may not do something that
Right.
they want to do. What overall feelings do you have about the time you served in the military?
Well, I was proud to serve in the armed forces, like I told you before, and I never regretted going in there and going and serving in Japan. Of course, by going to Japan, it was a trip for me that I probably would never have done before.
It was an interesting time.
Yes, it was. And I might tell you that while in Japan, there was about a 10-year-old Japanese orphan boy that was in our signal troop when I got there, and he was adopted by the troop, and then he was outfitted with Army outfits, which they made to his size.
Especially for him.
Yes, right. And he was enjoyable to have around, and he was very cute.
Could he speak English, or
He had a little bit of English.
learned,
Yeah, he learned a little bit.
was he kind of your mascot?
Yeah,
per
right.
se?
He was the mascot of the
He was-
first signal troop.
Well, that's neat. Any other feelings about your time served? You said that probably if more young people today join some part of the armed forces, do you think that have an effect on maybe how
How their
young-
life
how their life?
was lived and
Yeah.
what they did. And
You know
yes,
what
and
This is obviously not a perfect society in which
no, there's
crimes do happen.
anymore. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things that happen that shouldn't happen.
Do you think that if they went to the military, that'd have a direct effect on that? Or?
Well, it could. Of course, then there are some of these young kids that you can probably beat on them for years at a time and nothing happened. Not change their ways.
All right. Well, thank you for this interview. Do you have anything else that I haven't covered that you'd like to cover?
No, I think you're a good interviewer, Evan. And I enjoyed it.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Gasser.
You're welcome.